My name is Agent Double Sonic, and I'm going to use 100,000 dots to create a piece of art. Let's get started. So normally I would have the drawing portion a bit longer, but this video isn't about the drawing. This one will be focusing on the aspect of creating this artwork with the stylization of dots, or dotting. Well, you saw the thumbnail, so let's see how many dots I used to create Dot Warner from the Animaniacs Meditating. Because after this video, I needed to. Well, here's the finished sketch. Now let's get started. To save your sanity, I'm not going to make you watch and listen to thousands of dots being dotted on a page, or rather stippling as this art form is most accurately called. Just know that after about the first 2,000 clicks of this clicker, or people counter, whatever you want to call it, I was tired of hearing it, and boy oh boy do I have a long way to go to get through this. That okay, that was 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Dot number 10,000. 10,000. Okay, we're at 10,000 dots. We have officially gone over the mark for this. It only goes up to 9,999. We're at 10,000 dots right now. 10,000 dots on this dot. For the fear of me actually getting carpal tunnel from clicking this, I'm not going to click this 90,000 more times. My best method of practice is to count how many dots I do in a minute, because if I can do that for a minute, I can then times that by 60 to see how many dots I will do in an hour. So then that way we can go for the remaining 90,000 dots. I actually don't think we're going to need to do that many dots to finish this. Let's get started. A minute, go. 231 dots. 90,000 remaining dots. 6.49 hours, or just 6.5 hours to round up. Consecutively dots with no breaks. So what I can do, I'll set a timer and I will dot for 6.5 more hours, then be at technically 100,000 dots. This is gonna be rough. I actually don't know if this drawing is big enough to have 6.5 hours worth of dotting done to it. Let's get started. So for a much safer method for my own personal health, especially with how long this is gonna take, clicking that counter wasn't it. Big shout out to Jimmy for letting me use the counter. Thanks, Jimmy! Continuing on. Personally, having the timer helped me focus on the artwork and not so much clicking the counter, which for me, attempting to do that with my less dominant hand and trying to click it in time with stippling just wasn't working for me. First, starting on this, talking to my friends and telling them that I was going to count to 100,000, they thought I was crazy. Then when I told a few that I was going to create a video with it and it was 100,000 dots, it sounded absolutely bonkers. And I mean, rightfully so. Have you ever counted to 4 digits or 5 digits? It gets real tedious and then just kind of tiresome. But also, if you start losing count, well, that's when you just set everything on fire and walk away. No, but don't do that. I did notice I was filling this out a little bit quicker than what I thought, and then that's when I realized something. I kind of want to test it again. Okay, so I've been doing this now for about 25 minutes, and I didn't think it was right because I was filling up the page very quickly. I redid them here, and there's 325 dots within a minute. Now, I guess I don't know if it was just because I was trying to click this and trying to time it, or if I was just trying to sit here and listen to the watch, but I redid it, and all this right here, I'll put it right here, was 325 dots in a minute. So let me go ahead and do the math real quick. So we're at 18,141 dots as of right now. So if we go here, it's 18,141 dots as of right now. Well, get started. And so thus commenced the super sequences of hours of dotting and zoning out. As I began working on the background, I knew that I had to make sure that the water and sky were not going to be the same. Okay, the ocean had to be dark enough to have it defined as water, but not as dark as dot spur, because then we would have ran into the issue of both of them blending together. A challenge that I knew I was going to run into, honestly, was the sand. I still had to get the right texture in there, and the best thing I could think of was occasionally dotting close together as if there was rocks in sand and some undefined shells. But now the sky, that was my first cop-out just to eat up dots, which it did, but it also became a bigger challenge than what I thought. At first, I was just randomly dotting and I was fine with that, but then I realized I couldn't just haphazardly keep doing that. I needed to create this gradient that was in the reference, because the sky was just not a singular tone. Not to mention that once I got to the horizon, I needed to make sure that there was a difference between the ocean and the sky, and in the reference it was also pretty light. The dots had to be presented, but not too oversaturated, because this would have lost the perception of the entire thing. Now, once I got into the rhythm, time went by. Don't get me wrong, this took a fairly decent amount of time, and by no measures am I a stippling artist, but I was beginning to become proud of what I was being creative, what I made. This is no longer me aiming for a count. I mean, I was, and we still had a way to go, but now I was aiming to create an art piece, a genuine art piece that someone would hang in their home, or at the very least have it as a background on their PC. I didn't just want to carelessly dot to get the number completed, otherwise I would have just blacked out the entire ocean and sky. I decided to do this challenge not only for me, for the new year, well, because New Year, but now more than ever I wanted to push myself to my boundaries as an artist, test my limits. But most importantly, I wanted to reach my breaking point. Trust me, I came pretty close to doing that a few times. And I know that sounds like an odd thing to push towards, but I felt like this would just help me become more patient in my art, because usually I just kind of rush through these things and try to finish them in a day and go from there. But I wanted to rise to the challenge and crush it. Honestly, this is coming out a lot better than I could have ever hoped. I mean, seriously, look at it. I know it's going quick, and I'll show you the final product eventually, but I mean, come on. Okay, anyways, let's go ahead and get to the final touches. We gotta get the shadows and darken some areas and touching up the clouds. They weren't exactly pristine white, but they weren't gray either, and I just want to make sure that I dot them carefully so they don't get lost within the sky itself. But come on, look at this. Look at, man. Okay, all right. Anyways, let's. We have officially finished the dot. We have officially finished this picture of Dot Warner from the Animaniacs in 75,035 dots, which is not 100,000. We got pretty close. So now I do want to, because I promised you in the thumbnail 100,000 dots, because you tuned into the video, you liked it, you subscribed if you weren't already. You're getting your 100,000 dots. So let's get started. So now, ladies and gents, what better way to finish this crazy goal other than someone who is just as crazed as myself? Wacko Warner. Keep it in the family, so why not? These last roughly 25,000 dots were a breeze at this point. I mean, we had already did almost 75,000 dots, and I was just having fun. I got lost in the art piece, and I felt an odd sense of serenity doing this one. I wasn't frustrated. I wasn't bored of it. I was actually getting excited. It was like if I was running a marathon and I could see the finish line getting closer and closer, and that banner, that sweet, sweet banner that said goal, was right there, and I could almost grasp it. But for now, we took what we learned from the last piece and applied it here, making sure that there was a difference in the shades by the spacing, darkening areas that needed it and leaving other areas blank, you know, the usual. But honestly, if you enjoyed this, if you're wanting to see another piece like this, or if you were going to try it yourself, what would you like to see? What would you like to attempt to do? What would you like to create for yourself? This is just me being honest, and also thank you for hanging around this long. But now for what you've been waiting for, the finale. Okay. We are in the last minute left of doing this. I am so excited. You have no idea. We're almost here. This time is up, which means we have officially done 100,000 dots. We have officially done 100,000 dots. Let's erase. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we did it. We did it. First and foremost, this one clocked out to 75,035 dots. That's how much this clocked out to. 75,000 dots. Which for a stippling artist probably is nothing. But to someone who's never done stippling before or dotting, oh my god. This was actually insane. I didn't think I'd be able to do it. There was a point into which I was going to keep trying to fit the other 25,000 dots, but I realized if I did that, I would have destroyed this. So then I wanted to get to 100,000. And we ended up doing a whole second piece. This was fun in a torture myself kind of way. Alright, now let's flip it to me. Oh, man. Alright, that being said, thank you so much for watching. But we did it. 100,000 dots. I don't know if I would do something like this again. Maybe I will, because at the end result was beautiful. You have to admit it. It looks so nice. It came out so well. Just looking at it, and I have a newfound appreciation for this art style, this art form, for trying it out my own self, and oh boy. Yeah, I don't have much else to say. Peace, love, and hot sauce as always. Thanks for watching. I got the meanest, like, my elbow and wrist. We're gonna take a break from stippling. We're not doing that again. Not anytime soon. Woo! I want you to be the first to know I finished the videos. I did all 100,000 dots. I finished it. I got like a little emotional because I did it. Oh my goodness. You want to see it?